So Young Nudy dropped Dr. Evil, and to be honest, I didn't even realize that this had dropped until some of you guys mentioned it during a stream. And they had actually asked me to play some of the tracks off of this on the stream, and I said no, because as soon as I found out that he dropped something, I knew that I had to do a reaction video. So this is for you. Thank you to you guys for letting me know during that stream that he dropped something. Man, I don't know why I didn't realize that he was dropping anything. I just haven't really been keeping up too much with, you know, music news in general, except for the really major shit. So listen, man, this is a really nice surprise. Let's see what Young Nudy has for us, man. I'm expecting this to slap. So 13 songs, let's jump into it. Track 1's Revenge. There better be some songs on this to add to my workout playlist, bro. The melodies with the reverb are carrying right now, man. I'm not a big fan of the drum sounds though. The drum sounds are kind of throwing me off. Yeah, I'm not really mad at Young Nudy's performance. It's nothing really different than what we're used to from Young Nudy. He's bringing, you know, that kind of laid back, dark kind of energy that, you know, that, I mean, really, that works for him. But the thing is, it's like a 4-minute long track, and I'm not a big fan of the drum sounds on here, man. I would have chosen a different hi-hat, a different snare, a different 808 completely. I'm not certain that there's a kick on here, but yeah, I'm just not vibing with the drums, and so, you know, they kind of threw me off for the whole song, unfortunately, because the melodies were really ridiculous. They were nice, ambient, very reverberant. I could have listened to the melodies on a loop. I mean, they were on a loop, but you know what I mean. Yeah, Young Nudy did his thing, and whoever did the melodies did their thing too, but the drums just weren't for me on that one. Track 2 is Mini Me. Look at my eye, man, you know I'm gonna spray. Nigga didn't know but the day is the day. Slam by full out one little plate. I feel great. I'm so high, can't. Did he say what I think he said? Bitch, that boy know your ass getting ace. I got all these hoes at the. He said, bitch ass boy, know your ass getting 8. See, how does he know? That's the thing, is how does he know that? I would have loved for there to be some, you know, variation in that melody, man, because the variation that is there is either it's playing or it isn't, right? They take it out for a couple bars, put it back in, take it out, put it back in. I would have liked to hear that lead play a different melody during some portion of the song, you know? Because right now it's starting to get a little repetitive, and I'm only 1 minute into this. You know what I mean? So I'm already starting to feel like maybe this track is gonna be too long. We still got like another 50 seconds, and I'm kind of bored. Yeah, you know, the beat's good, man. It's just there isn't enough variation in the melody. It's not embellished enough. Like there's nothing that holds your attention past the first minute and a half in the production. You know, I mean, his performance is very consistent, and that's a good thing, but it's also very repetitive in that he doesn't really... Young Nudy's not the most versatile person, okay? He kind of brings what he brings, and we know what to expect from him every time. And does it work for him? Absolutely. I'm a Young Nudy fan, but what ends up happening is if the beat is trash, most of the times the song is just, you can't really play it, you know? Because if Young Nudy brings the same performance on 2 songs, but one has good production and one doesn't, this is the one I'm going to listen to, because the performance is the same on every song. You know what I mean? So the beat, not always, but in my opinion, a lot of the time is carrying Young Nudy, or at least is the main reason why we come back to a certain song. Unless he creates like a catchy hook, or his verse is particularly fire for one song, you know. A lot of the times the beat's what brings us back, and here this beat's just not, it's nothing special, you know? It's dope for the first minute and a half, like I said, and then after that you kind of want something more, and it never really shows up, so that's unfortunate. Track 3 is Yellow Tape featuring Lil Uzi, so let's see if Lil Uzi brings something different to this, man. 20 Rocket, let's go. See, here we have synths in the background. We have a little flute that's playing a melody. We have little chirp sound effects. And there's variation in this beat. There's more than one thing that you can kind of pinpoint or pick out at different spots in the track, in the production. This is a slower beat, so the melodies are able to be embellished a little bit more, right? When it's super fast paced, you can't have a bunch of melodies going on all the time because it gets kind of distracting. But here, I like that. I don't know if Tony Rocket did the drums or whoever did the melodies, but the melodies here are nice, man. They're really cool. Yeah. I want the drums to slap, and I want Young Nudy to do this. Yeah. But that lamb drop when I talk up at my fans stop. I'm so rich, don't need no handout. Yeah, Lil Uzi Vert brought some really nice melodies to this track, you know, a really nice melodic performance to this track, a much needed element, I think. You know, Young Nudy's not the most melodic person, but his beats always have such his beats for the most part always have these catchy melodies that are really fun to kind of sing to. And so having a feature like Lil Uzi Vert who can sort of provide, you know, some singing on these songs is really positive, man, in my opinion. That's a W. You know, he brought something nice and fresh for the last portion of the track, and, you know, the flow for the hook is nice and tight. It's kind of catchy. The drums are slapping, man. I like the drum selection for this. And the melodies, like I said, they're melodies that kind of make you want to come back to the track. So it's nothing too special, but this is really all I want from Young Nudy, man. This is all I need. If he's able to consistently bring this, then the rest of this tape should be fire, man, for sure. Track 4 is Roughneck. Oh, wow. The way the filter just opened up for the melodies is really cool. That snare is so tight, bro. I really like that. Yeah, man. The attack on those synths is so good. Young Nudy sounds particularly inspired on this track. I think that he was really going in, you know, this day whenever he recorded it. Lots of energy. Even his ad-libs are kind of like hyping up his main vocal, you know, in the background. It's like he's being his own hype man. I love that about this performance, you know what I mean? Now, when the chords are being played, there's a little synth, like a horn, that comes in, and the attack is perfect on that, man. It kind of like fades in. It almost like the filter is opening up and bringing in some more of the higher end. It kind of gets louder and then fades out in the background. It's almost like a wave that kind of builds and then crashes, you know what I mean, in the background. It's little things like that that keep us interested, because we're listening to the chords, we're listening to the little melodies, and then all of a sudden these horns come in, they build up and fade out, and we're waiting for that again, and that builds that anticipation and that, you know, interest in the track, really. The snare is super crisp. The drum bounce is great. This is a little bit more of a faster paced track, and like I said, Young Nudy's energy was great, so again, this is a W for sure. Track 5 is Perc 30. I think that the chords that are being played behind him right now, I'm not saying they're necessarily off key, but they're not really playing the notes that I would expect to accompany this bass line, to be honest. There's something about them just throwing me off a little bit. I also don't like the way that the 808 and the melodies were mixed, because they're both kind of low. The 808 sounds a little muddy, and sometimes, you know, that might be intentional just to add some dirt to the track, I guess, but the fact that the melodies are also low, they kind of get a little jumbled up sometimes, and I wish the melodies were stuck at about an octave higher than they are right now. That would have been a little more interesting to me. This little reversed melody is pretty tight, though. Yeah, I'm feeling like a lot of these songs are a little too long, man. Revenge, Mini-Me, and now Perc 30 have all felt a little too long than what I would like from these tracks. Towards the end of the song, we're kind of like, okay, wrap it up and let's move on. A lot of you guys might be wondering why I'm not really focusing in too much on what Young Nudy's doing. I keep talking about the production. One, I'm a producer, so that's what I listen to. On my first listen, I pick out way more of the production than I'm able to pick out lyrically. That's just the way my ears listen to the music, so that's what I bring differently to my channel. I don't catch lyrics as well as, you know, Sean C. or Terrell Mallory or somebody like that. I can talk more specifically about the production, But not only that, with an artist like Young Nudy, like I said, he's very consistent and brings a very similar performance track after track after track. So if I were to just talk about what he was doing, I would be repeating myself over and over again, because that's kind of what he does over and over again, song after song. So like I said, the beat is mostly what determines whether or not I come back to a Young Nudy track, and so that's what I kind of focus on during these videos. And with this one, you know, like I said, there's a little reverse melody that comes in that is really cool, that I think should have been a little louder, to be honest. But the low melodies in the background with the kind of muddy 808 just weren't doing it for me, unfortunately. So I was kind of done with this halfway through it. Track 6 is the Rustlers.
Like a bitch, like your whole squad. Heard your hoe is still on my dick. Wow. I'm a duty hunted, said ain't nothing. I'm a young rich nigga. They won't never let you touch me, nigga. Never, nigga. Ain't chain for no fame. I could never.
The lead that comes in is loud as shit, man. I think they should have turned down the cutoff filter a little bit on the lead that comes in, because it sounds a little harsh and kind of loud. You know, it's a little disruptive whenever it comes in. Now it's not on a loop throughout the entire track, so it's not a major, you know, a major issue or anything like that. This is hard. It's just over 3 minutes long, so it's not ridiculously long. You know, the drums are hard. The 808 is fire. It's kind of what's carrying the melody, strange as that might sound. The simple little arpeggiated, you know, pianos are just on a loop, and so it's the 808 that provides the variation in the chord progression. I like it. I think it's interesting, you know, and the 808 is really heavy. You know, this is that typical kind of dark Young Nudy sound that I'm a fan of. So yeah, like I said, just the volume and the cutoff filter lower a little bit on the lead, and this would have been top notch, man. Child's Play featuring 21 Savage. Let's go, man. Hey, is it just me, or let me know if you guys agree with this, but whenever there's a song that has a feature on it, I feel like Young Nudy shines particularly on these sorts of tracks. You know, I always feel like he brings a little something extra whenever he's going to put a feature on a song. Some of my favorite Young Nudy tracks have features on them, you know? I think that maybe it's because he feeds off the other person's energy if they're actually in the studio with each other, or maybe it's because there's this competitive spirit that kind of makes him, you know, go a little harder when he knows that someone else is going to be rapping on the track. Either way, I'm really happy that he does that, you know, that he steps it up a little bit. And it kind of makes me wish that he had more features, you know, because he goes in a little harder when there's a feature on a song. He absolutely does.
Clutching when I'm around, fuck around and leave my fan on the ground. Lick the spot, switch the box, double like me, baby. Pussy, blow a nigga dick.
I think his ad-libs are a little too loud.
Get bored, I buy me a coupe. Stepped on a nigga, got blood on my boot. It's for fun. All of my choppers, they come with a drum. Whenever the ops see us, they run. Who wants?
Like Young Nudy said, man, in the hook, he does his thing. 21 Savage on this track killed his verse, and I'm so glad that Young Nudy stepped it up a little bit, because he really competes. You know, their verses really compete on this one. They're both very, very, how can I say this? They're both very much on par with each other, in terms of energy, in terms of flow, and, you know, ad-libs, and everything about them is working. I can't say that the beat is the best, but their verses are so charismatic and intriguing that it definitely keeps our interest throughout the entire track. So I think that this beat might have been a little bit better if the melody that's following the 808 weren't in this octave. I think it should be an octave up, because it's in the octave that it's at, it's providing some frequencies on the higher end that are a little annoying to me, and I hear those, and they just don't work. So if it were an octave up and following the bass line, I think that would be fire, and then you can have an octave above that another little counter melody, and that would have been better for the beat in general. Now for their verses, like I said, there's nothing wrong with them, except for the fact that 21 Savage's ad-libs were a little loud. That was really it, though. I like that one. That one's hard. Track 8 is Soul Keeper.
The fuck you doing it for, fault, nigga? What wrong with you, nigga? You gotta feed your family regardless, fault, nigga. You know me, huh? I know evidence, you know I spend, nigga. Get rid of rich niggas, yeah, I take shit, nigga. And inside they get my body smoking on me. I get in on chopping no deep brick. Made by 500,000. That's just our feature, bitch. Now don't think we is equal. With a couple real crip niggas from 4 seats. And my dog, they post on Boulevard.
Yeah, that's not bad, man. The little chords that are... It's almost like every chord that is played is panned to a different ear. I think that's interesting. Very quiet honestly. But they're a little muffled. They have a nice little filter on them, and they kind of fade in, right? There's a little bit of an attack on them. We also have some plucked harp sounds that are panned back and forth, which I think is really cool, and a little lead, and I say little literally because it's very quiet, it's very soft, and in a similar octave to everything else, so it all kind of just blends together a little bit. But it's panned completely to the left side so that it doesn't clash too much with everything else. But I like it. I like it. I think it's nice. The 808 is, again, kind of what carries, you know, the weight to this track. That's all in the bass. You know what I mean? That's the 808, bringing that. The drums are nice, bouncy, and Young Nudy is doing his Young Nudy thing, track after track, just like I predicted. So, not mad at that either. That one's nice. I like Child's Play more still. Two-Face featuring G Herbo. This should be fire. You started rapping with no drums. Let's go. That's hard, bro. This might be my favorite song so far.
Take it just on sip and drink. Ever smelt a real brick? Boy, them bitches stank. In the street, cause rapping dirty game. Won wars, we was clapping, I got 30 aims.
Yo, these melody switch ups are crazy, man. How is he still going, bro? I'm telling you, when features are on the track, he adds some sauce, man. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's my favorite track so far, man. Everything about this is working. The G Herbo feature was fire. The production was nasty. The fact that he starts rapping before the beat even drops. It's like he couldn't wait to jump on this, man. That's just the energy I'm looking for. The really high-pitched melody that comes in towards the beginning that's panned to the left side is really fire. I love how far back it sounds and how reverberant that is. That's super spacey, man. And then we have the little switch up with the different melodies, different leads, different plucks. Like, everything about that is just awesome. And that's the variety that I'm looking for to keep us interested in the track. There's no doubt in my mind as to why this is the most streamed song off of this album, man. This is the best song on the album, you know? It is what it is, man. This is the one that I'm going to be coming back to constantly. That's fire. Scott Evil, track 10.
Ain't a bitch nigga, you already know. Ain't no bitch nigga, you already know. Ain't no bitch nigga, no. Nigga try home, you know that it's slow. Nigga blood, I live in the street. I'm a blood, no industry, nigga. I've been in shit for an industry.
I think this beat would have been better off without those chimes, man, that are panning back and forth. The subtle chords and the melodies that the chords are playing, I think they would have been enough for this.
Squeeze for me, the bitch only type of squeeze I need. And if she ain't fast, she can't send me to sleep. She gotta...
The fact that every note is panned to a different ear is kind of distracting, you know? Use these chimes, but play a little simple melody without panning them back and forth constantly. Lower the volume a little bit since it's the highest pitched sound. It's standing out a lot in this mix. And don't play it throughout, you know, too long of the track. Just leave it in for a few portions, a few bars, and then take it out and leave it back in for another few bars, take it out. So that it's like an accent to the track and not something that's distracting us from everything else that's going on.
Yeah, bitch, you can get it. Having money, so she feel me. Trying to talk, I can't hear.
Yeah, I'm not really vibing with that one, man. Like I said, those chimes are really distracting. I'm not talking about Young Nudy when I say I dislike certain songs, man, because like I said, this man does almost the same thing on every single song. He has found what's worked for him, and he is extremely formulaic. And you can disagree with me, that's fine. Let me know in the comments if you do disagree. So if I dislike a song, it's most likely not Young Nudy's fault. It's something in the production that I'm just not vibing with because, you know, Young Nudy is as consistent as you can be. Dr. Evil, track 11. This is the title track. It's gotta be something special.
Okay. They not feeling that. Ain't no pussy by me. I don't talk about it. I don't entertain. I get nigga wet. Know where I'm at. If I with the middle finger, know that black. I got a gun. You playing? You smack.
Hey.
Turn into a mirror, nigga. Bank roll on me, number white facing nigga, but they know that I'm black. And I'm racing.
Let's go. I'm vibing with these drums, bro. This is it. Perfect melodies, fire drums, great drop, nice sounding 808, like super well developed production sound. Like the high end is nice and full because of the melodies. The low end is really thick and fat. Young Nudy's flows going crazy. I like this tempo for Young Nudy. I think that his flows, they just get super tight and catchy at around this BPM. This is great. It's on my playlist.
I get the money when a nigga can't. First a nigga when I step in the bank. Shoot a motherfucker straight.
This is one of my favorite tracks off this project too. Two-Face in first place, Dr. Evil probably in second place. Really like the chords. The chord progression, the sound that they chose to play those keys, It's fire, man. It's got that nice, evil, dark, kind of creepy sound that Young Nudy goes crazy over. The sound effects that they use for the drop too, the little chime is awesome, and you know, I mentioned everything that I liked about the production earlier in this video. So, Colombian Necktie, track 12.
Fucking TVs and shit, nigga. I'm back with my gas. Used to pull a kick, though. Now I'm home invading. And my uncle a real robber, love that taking shit. And my daddy a real trouble. Used to walk through the cut, the sun, battle the shot with chemo. Hit me a licking. Always saying go to school, but I got kicked out. Now I'm stuck in it.
I'm loving these drum patterns, bro. The really wide stereo separation on the melodies is interesting to listen to when you've got your eyes closed. Yeah, I like this. So far, I'm vibing with it. We'll see how it lasts, though, for 4 minutes. We'll see if it gets repetitive at all. Nice little synth melody just came in, too. The pew-pew sounds with the lasers are fire, man. Yeah, like I said, I do like this production. I just wish that the track were shorter. That's really the only thing that's bad about it, I think. You know, because it is just a loop. At the end of the day, it's fire. It's a fire-ass loop, but it's a loop. And listening to the same thing on repeat for 4 minutes gets a little old. So I like the little bongo sound. I like the little laser, you know, the laser sound is really cool. The stereo separation on the background melodies is great. And there's a little lead that comes in that's pitched down that isn't separated so wide. So it sounds like it's more centered in the track, that I think is cool too. But it only comes in like every, what, 16 bars, something like that. I like the drum patterns. I like the open hat pattern more specifically. I think that it sounds really cool. I wasn't a huge fan of the snare, but the fact that there is an open hat that's playing on the second snare kind of adds to the bounce for it. It kind of helped me ignore the fact that I didn't really like the snare sound. So really specific. I'm very, very picky when it comes to the beats, but you know, like I said, the Young Nudy beats, they're my favorite thing about his tracks most times. So I like it. It's just a little too long. Last track is Walking Dead.
Seen it all, yeah. I done seen it all. I done seen it all, yeah. Have you seen a dead body before? I know this bitch here got a 50, and I'm trying to catch a body, kill a bitch nigga with no deal. And I know a lot of niggas wanna steal my mojo, cause I got that hole in my mouth. They want me get in a spot, yeah. She say I can trap a spot.
I'm kind of indifferent about this track, to be honest. It is hard, you know. I just, you know, it's okay. I don't dislike it. I also don't love it. It's just there, and I'm fine with it. I wouldn't necessarily skip it if it came on. I also don't see myself coming back to it every day, so that's okay. It's a nice little outro for this project, man. So, you know, I gotta be honest, man. I don't think that this project is anything special. I don't think it's anything to write home over. There are some really positive takeaways, like Two-Face, Child's Play was pretty hard, Dr. Evil was dope, Yellow Tape was nice. For the most part, man, if you want to know whether or not you're going to like a song on this project, listen to the first minute and a half, and if you haven't enjoyed it by then, you're most likely, you know, there's not really much that's going to happen towards the end of the track. A lot of these tracks are a little too long, and so by around that time, you know, 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes in, you've pretty much gotten the gist of the song, and you've had your fill, so to speak, of that track. Yeah, like I said, man, if I had to rate this, it's probably like a 6. It's above, it's just above mid, but it's nothing great. You know what I mean? It's not something that I'm like, oh man, this is ridiculously fire. I want to listen to this, you know, every day. I found my favorite tracks off of it. I've added them to my playlist. And those are the ones that I'll come back to. The other ones, I don't feel like they're going to be super memorable, you know? It is what it is, man. I feel like the production choices, for the most part, could have been a little better. Young Nudy's performance, same thing as always, really. He brings the same thing every single song. And it works for him, but for how long is it going to work for him, honestly? You know, how long is he going to let beats kind of carry him? I want to see him evolve and, you know, develop a sound that has got versatility to it, has got variety to it, has got something that he does that's interesting on a song. You know what I mean? So I'm a fan of his. I really want to see him grow and mature as an artist, and I want to see him try and do something different next time around. I want to see him explore a different sort of lane next time around. Those are my thoughts on this album. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments section. Thank you for watching the video. Special shout out to my patrons and the members of the channel for supporting me every month. and for helping me to continue to do this as often as I do it. I really appreciate you guys. If you would like to support on there, the link is in the description. Besides that, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like, and that will make sure that the YouTube algorithm pushes my video out to some new people, and maybe we'll get, you know, some new subs. So I appreciate it. Thank you all so much, like I said, for watching the video. I will see you guys really soon. Until then, stay safe out there, guys. Peace out.